Hi, everyone. We've caught Cole in the action.
Oh no, I'm just making sure I can monitor everything. Only 4 people watching. It's sad. But hi, guys.
That's rude. Come and get more people. Well, anyway, how is everyone? It's been another 2 weeks. I can't believe it's been another 2 weeks. So much has happened. But before we start talking about what happened or didn't happen, or, that, very professional.
What?
Tell us what you got, Cole.
I've got a strawberry Rita.
Nice one. All right, let's we're of course not here alone. We will have to apologize. We do not have Meg with us this week. She will be back in 2 weeks though. I mean, we're not letting her off the hook, but yeah, she couldn't make it today. But we do have Fatma and we have Chelsea. Hi girls.
Hi guys.
Hi.
How is everyone doing?
Good.
Okay.
You can take it.
We're alive. Well, we're going
weeks.
Hello.
Hi, Jason. Hello, Ryan and Jessica.
And the beep. Hello, Amanda.
Amanda, get in here.
That's not our Amanda.
That's the other Amanda. There's two. There's two
Amanda here as well. Yeah, that's true. That's true. She will probably come later, I think. Her and Janita are supposed to join us a bit later, so they'll be here though. Well, anyway, let's start off with something. How are you girls enjoying October? Are you doing the Halloween horror movie marathon, everyone? Because I know Cole's doing it.
Of course I'm doing it. This is like probably my 7th year doing it.
What's the latest movie that you've watched?
What did I watch last night? It was The House on the Left. First off, there's way too many house movies on when it comes to horror or Halloween. There's Cabin in the Woods. There's The House Down the Street. There's literally The Last House on the Left. There's the neighbor next door's house. It gets really confusing, but it was actually a PG-13 movie that was a lot more twisty than I thought. It had Jennifer Lawrence, but it was pretty good.
When did it come out?
2012. It was on Netflix's recommended Halloween favorites.
Is that the one where she moves to a different school?
What?
The one where she moves to a different school.
Yeah, and the neighbor is sketchy as hell, and then you find out why.
Yeah.
It's good that you find out why.
Listen, it's like for PG-13, it literally got really dark, especially the last few seconds of the film.
Yeah.
They hit you with one other detail, and you're like, oh my god, what the fuck did I just watch?
You know what? I'm not entirely sure horror movies should be PG-13. I feel like
it was PG-13 because it wasn't very violent. Like, there was violence, but it was pretty low-key. But it was considered like a teen thriller horror movie. But I don't know. The last 20 minutes of that film was like, maybe it shouldn't be.
Well, since we're at the topic of horror movies, what's your favorite horror movie, girls?
Ooh.
That takes a thought.
So
No, I know mine, but I don't know if I want to expose myself like this.
I don't have a favorite, but the one in recent memory that I've got that I absolutely loved and I thought was really well made and they had an amazing cast was Doctor Sleep. And I know it's very a lot of people have a lot of issues with it because of the whole Stanley Kubrick not being able to direct it because he directed The Shining. But I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. It was really, really good. And I'm sure I've watched other horror things like The Haunting. I think, did The Haunting TV show season 1 come out before Doctor
The
Sleep?
Haunting of Hill House, and then the
Did
Haunting
that
of
come out
Bly
before? Well, I like that show as well. I haven't seen the second season yet. I've just been extremely busy recently, so up until possibly Friday, I won't be able to really watch anything horror-ish, unfortunately. But Doctor Sleep is one of the movies that has, stayed with me since, was it November or? Good Lord, time is.
I need to watch that, but you have to watch The Shining first to understand it. Because my brother has seen nothing, so I'm trying to show him stuff that isn't too scary. But
I don't think you have to.
Well, to be fair, I haven't seen the film. I've seen Shining, but I haven't seen Doctor Sleep, so I don't know how much connected they are as far as in this particular part it goes. But the books, obviously, you have a premise. The Shining is a premise for Doctor Sleep, so in the book you should, kind of probably read it so you know what's going on.
That's true.
So so for the book is. I think that might be the case, but I think maybe in Doctor Sleep, what happened was they did anything that did connect to The Shining was somewhat explained in a really interesting way, so that the person who watches Doctor Sleep doesn't necessarily feel completely out of place if they've not seen The Shining. So I don't know. I mean, The Shining isn't. I don't think on the grand scheme of horror, and I've seen really bad horror. By bad, I mean scary bad, stuff that makes you, really, really scared. I don't think The Shining or Doctor Sleep are on that level, in all honesty. They're, they are scary, but they're not that scary.
Yeah, my brother, he's been watching most of them with me, and he's a weird kid. He's obsessed with history, and it's not and he loves to listen to podcasts about the really gory history, and he loves true crime, and he loves murder and stuff like that. But then when it comes to horror movies, nope, no. So we're slowly working through it. My favorite horror movie, I'm debating on showing it to him because it's really gory, is American Mary. And I don't know if anyone's heard of it before.
I remember you trying to tell me to watch it, and then I just got lost under the piles of things that you want me to watch. But I've seen stills from it, and it just looks cool. By the way, please, Chad, don't judge me on saying that it looks cool when you Google it.
It's basically this young girl is studying to be a doctor, and she basically gets invited to a dinner party by her professor, and she goes not expecting anything. And when she gets there, she realizes that the girls that are attending, that are from the class, are being drugged and forced to do sexual things by the professors and the alumni. And so she starts practicing what she's learned on living subjects.
I've just Googled it, and it looks so good.
It is good, and also
sounds amazing.
It's directed by a pair of girls called the Twisted Twins, and they are so fun. There's literally they're so fun. They show up in the movie too as well, and she does illegal plastic surgery, things that most plastic surgeons will literally not touch. So it's basically her being this boss bitch who becomes her own person and takes some revenge along the way, and it's really, really gory. I cannot preface that enough. If you have a weak stomach, don't go near it at all. But I love it. It's really good. I watch it every year. I need to think about it, but I think I might show it to my brother. I think he can handle it. We just watched Hannibal. We watched the whole series of Hannibal with him and my dad, so I think he can handle
it. What about you, Chelsea? What's your favorite? Or what would you consider your go-to horror movie?
I would say Carrie. I love Carrie. The 1970s one.
Yeah.
The original or the remake, or both?
The original.
I like both, actually, which my dad kind of argues with me on it because he's like, at the remake.
I'm curious, since we're at the remakes, of Stephen King stuff. I'm curious about the Pet Sematary remake because I haven't seen it yet. But according, like from what I've seen the trailer, it's not going to be anything like the book. Well, it'll probably follow some of the book's premise, but it's not going to be like page for page thing. And honestly, like I'll be absolutely honest, Pet Sematary was like the one book that scared me. Like I usually when I read a horror in a book, like I'm okay, you know, you just kind of read it, and even though imagination is a thing, it's just not the same thing when you watch movie than when you read a book. But this one was so scary to me. Like I genuinely had to close it and sleep with my lights on.
I've heard that it's scary, that the remake is scarier than the original. Because they apparently could do more to make it scarier. So like effects and whatnot. So
I watched the remake, but I haven't watched the original, and I haven't read the book. So I can talk about the remake as a movie in and of itself. Pardon?
Was the remake scary?
It was scary, but there was something about the ending that I was like, I really wanted it to go a certain way, but it didn't go a certain way, and I don't know what happens in the books, so I'm just watching it as if I was watching an.
Well, I believe that like because the books kind of spin only around the son of the family.
Mm.
He dies on a hit and run, and they bury him in the pet cemetery. Well, the dad, desperate, buries him in the pet cemetery. That's the premise. And essentially, I mean, I don't know what kind of role the cemetery actually played in the new remake, but then again, if I say what it played in the original, I'm kind of giving it away. Then again, like, if you guys haven't read it by now, I mean, is it really spoilers? But
wait, so in the book, the father buries the son in the pet cemetery?
Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to remember what happens in the movie.
So basically,
I don't know if he did.
The entire thing spins around the fact that the cemetery, the kids used to bury their pets in there because it could bring the pets back to life, because it's an old Indian burial ground and it's got some sort of a thing. So when this tragedy happens, the dad is so desperate that he goes and buries his son there, hoping he'll come back to life.
Oh no, he doesn't at first. They don't bury him there at first, as far as I remember from the movie. And I don't know if I'm giving spoilers away, but also my memory is a bit fuzzy with that movie. Like I remember watching it, but I don't know if I don't know.
Okay, you guys need to see this. Look at this. Oh my God! Hi, Amanda.
Hi. We're not taking off of that, but I still love it.
You know, if you're like this today, how is it gonna be when it's actual Halloween show?
I know. It's not. The world's not ready. Look.
Nice.
Pumpkin hard cider. Yes.
I love it. We need to try it.
I love the look, Amanda.
Thank you. I was going to do. Hold on, I'm gonna fix. Here we go. I was going to do, like my eyeliner all wackadoo, and then I was like, no, I'm not going to do any eyeliner. I still did eyeliner, but
that looks good.
Better. The sunglasses
are all the God's shirt and everything. We're talking about horror movies.
Just got it today. So, but I'm super excited. Yeah, so what were we? Somebody said something about a King book. Sorry, I didn't mean to just.
Oh, so we were just talking about Pet Cemetery, and my boy John chimed in that might be the most disturbing King book I've ever read. I've never actually finished a Stephen King book. There was one book I got when I was 5th grade for outside the U.S. people, that's like 11, and it was traumatizing for some reason, and I don't remember exactly why, so I just went back to it. but I might need to read that now. I feel like I've been issued a challenge.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, for me, like, I agree with Jonathan. I mean, honestly, it was the one book that I had to put down because it was scary for me. And I love Stephen King's books. Like, my favorite book of all the time is actually not Harry Potter, funnily enough. It's The Green Mile. I love The Green Mile.
Ooh.
I love it so much. I have, in the Czech language, I actually have the original one where it was actually split into like 5 books or so. It's up on my shelf. I love it. I love it so much. I read it in Czech. I read it in English, which I don't usually do. I usually read books in just one language. And it's just like my favorite story.
Just casually flexing that you read books in multiple languages.
Look, I do have some qualities, okay? I gotta flex them.
Amanda, what's your favorite horror movie?
Oh my, wow. My favorite horror movie. That's hard for me because there are so many that I like. I don't know that it's really horror. Maybe like sci-fi, horror, fantasy. I feel like it's not, but it gave me the spooky vibes. So I guess I should say the spooky movie that's coming to mind when you ask about my favorite horror is... No, you know what? I take it back. Favorite horror is Scream, hands down. It was like my introduction into spooky movies, like scary movies. It's Scream. But the spooky vibes would be Annihilation. Like, that's spooky season to me. It's very like haunting, and I tend to like antagonists that are like supernatural in nature because, like, I don't know, you know.
And you literally don't see them?
Yeah, or like like in Annihilation, it's just basically like an electromagnetic force field that changes everyone's DNA. So like you don't know what it is. The act of discovering what it is alters you. And there's something like really, I mean, the closer you get to the source, the more intense that becomes. And then like there's the question of who came out of the shimmer, if you're familiar with the movie. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I watched it with my dad, and it was alright.
Yeah.
You know, the way that you speak about it, what I think about when it comes to these things, what I think that is like really scary, but on a different level. And it left such an impact on me. And we were actually talking about it recently because there was an anniversary. I don't know how many of you are familiar, but there was a TV show, a spin-off to Doctor Who. It was called Torchwood, and one series was called Miracle Day. And it was just a few episodes, but I was
like, yeah,
for life. Like, I have like walked away from that, and I was like, I can never watch this again, ever.
Yeah.
Ever. And yes.
Wait, what? Oh, nice.
Doctor Who crew right there. Yeah, but I was like, I can never watch this ever again. And it left me like really, like the feeling that I had when I finished that was just, I can't even describe it. Yeah, it was traumatizing.
Yes.
And it's funny because years later, like now I live in the city where Torchwood was like based, basically. And I actually, for the past 3 years, I've been working at a place where I look out of the window and what I see is the Torchwood Tower thing, you know. It's kind of... So,
now that's spooky. I like it. I listen to a podcast called Morbid, and they say spoopy all the time instead of spooky. And it just, I can't help it.
We say spoopy too. My brother and I will sometimes, he'll ask me, is this movie got minor spook or major spook?
Yes.
What is the degree of spook?
Yeah, no, but like Miracle Day left a mark. I will not lie. But what do you guys like more? Like, is it this kind of thing, like stuff that like say you can't see and then there's a shocking revelation, and like is it more psychological, or do you like more like jump scares? What is your go-to? Not necessarily your like say favorite movie of all time, but what is like your go-to? What you go to when you think about these things?
I think for me that's kind of hard to say because I like all of the above. But like but the this Netflix movie that I saw last year I watched it last year and I had to go find it so I could watch it with my family this year. Eli was one of those movies where you don't the twist hits you and you're like, where did this come from? And I think that was like the most fun part about it, was the fact that you literally didn't see it coming at all. Like there was no hint there. Like I would challenge someone to tell me there was a hint. But I think I like movies like that sometimes that do that, like The Village from
I was gonna say the unexpected twist is The Village. So good.
Let me just preamble something on The Village. So John in the comments and I were in English class in 6th grade. So that's about 12, 13. And our teacher is teaching us about idyllic societies that are lies. And for some bizarre reason, they get it into their head to use The Village as their teaching like example. And it's traumatized the entire class except for a few. I was one of the few that wasn't traumatized. I laughed when the twist came. I literally started cackling, but my poor friend Mary, who had CP, like she was so shocked, her whole body locked up and she flipped out of her desk. I was like, no! But
I grew up in a part of Indiana that has a lot of Amish people that live there. So it's very like culty and very removed from the rest of the world. Like they don't communicate with us the same way, etc., etc. And so like it was not so unbelievable. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
to me, that would, yeah, definitely. I don't know. Sorry, I talk too much, y'all.
No,
like,
you don't. Oh,
Chelsea, Dana, if you don't talk up, I will just talk all the time.
What about you, Fatma? What's like? Do you like it when it's like a sudden twist? What kind of like trope is your go-to?
All of them. I love them all. So when you said D all the above, I was like, yeah. I don't have. There's only a few movies that I don't like, really, in general, outside of horror. So it's war movies. I don't find them fun, personally, and westerns, I guess. Not that there are many westerns these days.
I don't like westerns.
Oh no, there are so many westerns.
I do not find fun. But
westerns
the rest of them I
are
love, like
rom-com of the male world.
Westerns and your stereotypical stupid shite sort of comedy. There's very few comedy films I can enjoy. Like when I want to watch something comedic on TV, I don't go to Comedy Central. I turn on Ridiculousness, which is like fail videos and people getting
You
hurt.
would like Ridiculousness.
And like
the only exception. Sorry, I thought you.
I was just saying, like, you know, people getting injured doing really stupid stuff. It's satisfying. It's fun.
Yeah, so the only exception for me with westerns is Westworld. I like the TV show. I like Westworld. I think
that doesn't count because it's sci-fi. It just
has a different twist to it.
Yes, it's sci-fi. It's not actually a western. It's that's like Back to the Future is a western exception. I mean,
but Cole and I have like a pile of exclusive kind of Westworld stuff from San Diego Comic-Con because we were always in Hall H the day. And that was like on Saturdays, there's usually a big movie day. So there is Marvel segment and Warner Brothers segment. But in between, for like 2 years, there was Westworld. And they would be giving you... So what they do is they have this like
Did they give
special.
you a fly? Is there a fly you can just stick on yourself somewhere? I want one.
No, but maybe next year. No, the thing is like they give you these little like raffle tickets, and you go to this special room, you hand in the ticket, they will recognize which panel it's from, and they give you like goodie bags, which is pretty cool. And once or twice, we've just gotten like a goodie bag from Westworld. So we have like a bag and a poster and this kind of stuff.
I gave that all to my brother Matt because he likes it. Honestly, I got kind of bored with Westworld, but but the panel is even more boring. So I've actually fallen asleep in that panel at least twice.
Yeah, HBO panels are not. It
was funny. The first time we were in a Westworld panel, I started to fall asleep and I started going down, and Nana grabbed me by my shirt and pulled me back up. And the girl sitting next to us wasn't anyone we knew, and she was really into it, and she was like appalled and offended. And I was just like, okay, I'm here.
But to be fair, okay, it's really exhausting to do Hall H. Okay, you gotta find that one panel during which you can sleep. And that year there was not that animation thing. Which, in fact, we should have slept through the first year it was around because it was traumatizing. Honestly, that was a horror movie on its own. I don't.
It's this thing. It's like this 30 to 40 minute that feels like it's literally 10 hours of this like animated. It's like all these animated films that won an award. But it's not like, like how you see a Pixar short, It's not wholesome in any way. It's literally like somebody's coked up fever dream was drawn out and animated. Like there's a fish riding a bicycle going, oh, 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 for 20 minutes almost. And it's like...
Yes, weird art, short films. I'm here for it.
I don't know. I think this might push even your
You can sleep. I'll cover that one. I like the weird shit like that.
Like
last year it was okay. Last year was actually nice, but the year before, like some of these, I was just like, there is no words for it.
It was a drug-induced fever dream that somebody decided to put into animation. Like there is no way that even a crazy person was sober while making that.
Yeah, it's a little bit. But no, I see comment about Inglourious Bastards. I don't know if you guys were talking about it when I dropped dead from connection, but I love it.
What genre would you put Inglourious Bastards in?
It's like action-y or comedy.
Yeah.
And that's what I like. That's a comedy I love. I can watch that over and over.
Yeah, I love Inglourious Bastards. Like that's like my thing.
Chelsea, do you like jump scares? Or do you like the psychological thriller? The supernatural? Are you into like ghosts?
I hate jump scares actually.
You do?
Yeah, I feel like sometimes they're like very cheap when they do it, like because it's for like that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to make you scared, but it's like it's not like scary. It's like my heart hurts, and I don't like that.
Yes, but I feel like they're literally like pushing a button that they know exists in your brain instead of like making you go through a mental maze to get to where they are, and that's a cool process. It's just like jump.
Do you guys remember that jump scare? I don't know if anyone else saw it. I don't know if it was just an American thing or not, but it was like a video that you would send your friends and it would freak them out.
Cars driving through the countryside.
Yeah.
I'm so over it. Yes.
My uncle sent that to my dad, and my dad called me into his room and showed it to me on his computer. And I almost died. I was glad that like I wasn't near a set of staircases because like it got me so good I would have flipped over backwards.
I remember being tricked. I think it was my brother. He was like, "Look, it's the new Transformers trailer."
Mean.
Oh my god.
He knew what to say to get you to just pay attention. So you're probably like watching, waiting to catch every detail.
Yeah, because like the car's like driving by and you're like, okay. And then it jumps out and gets you.
Is that like, I hate those videos that people send that are just like they're completely normal, like there's a cute dog or a cute cat and it looks so great, and then it's just like somewhere on the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember those. Yeah.
Those can be fun occasionally, like around this time of year. Like around this time of year, I don't trust no one. You send me a video, I'm ready. I'm waiting. I know, and on TikTok, it's only gotten worse because people have become really good at making things that are jump scary. So sometimes you're scrolling through the For You page and it just pops up and you're like, well, I just shit myself.
I've seen some ones with like a snake on the screen. So you're like, okay, the snake's gonna jump out and get me. The snake's gonna jump out and get me. And then it's like actually like a leopard that comes out of nowhere and just eats you. And it's like terrifying, right? Okay. Has changed as I've aged. Yes. Yes. Okay. Can I talk? As someone who has born children, Joe's going to be here soon too, so she can attest to this. They hit different. It hits different. It took me a couple years to like be able to even listen to there are certain true crime podcasts I can't listen to anymore. There's certain things where like I need to be in a good mental headspace, and I don't like things involving children. I don't.
My dad kind of became the same after having us. Like he when like he knows that I love Law and Order SVU and he can watch it with me, but sometimes it's like, you know how they always have an SVU marathon on? I can sit there and leave it playing for like literally the next 48 hours. But he sometimes will be like, oh, this is too much after 2 episodes, especially if there's kids involved. It's like if there's kids involved, then he's like, maybe 1 episode, and can we change the channel?
Sorry, the boy in the blue pajamas. What is that? Because I know about the boy in stripped pajamas or striped pajamas. Is it
the one about the Holocaust, or is it something else?
That's the boy in the striped pajamas.
Yeah, that's why I was confused.
That's what I thought she was talking
about.
Because this is the boy in the blue pajamas. I don't know that one.
Oh, wait. Sorry. I was trying to read it again.
Oh, sorry. Hang on. I'll throw it in there.
No, you're fine. I don't think we read.
Oh, yeah. She said that's the one. The boy in the striped pajamas. Yeah.
Okay. It's funny because I definitely just immediately thought, the boy that, like, I don't know why. Yeah, that's the one that I thought you were talking about.
Yeah. That one is like, honestly, like for me. So for me, this obviously I am a history buff. I like historical stuff, and I like specifically last century, you know, like whether it's Second World War, Cold War, Holocaust, this stuff. I don't want to say I'm interested in it because I don't feel like it's something that I actually enjoy learning about, but I find it really important that I do learn about it, especially because where I come from, it was such an important part of our life. And I mean, I am a student in land Czech, so as far as like the whole Second World War goes and the conflict with Germany and all that stuff, it was really, really prominent in the region where I come from. And in my own family, if you trace it back, not so far, like 2-3 generations back, you would actually find both Nazi Germans and people who went to the Auschwitz concentration camp. So it's really like, for me, it's really like, okay, this is something that I need to know about. And this is something that I need to speak to people about. So while it's, you know, it's horrifying and it should be horrifying, I'm trying to sort of keep it in my memory and keep this information on because I want people to know what happened.
in high school, I went through a phase where I wasn't really like bothered by anything. Like I could absorb the information and take it in. Like, because in our history classes, we'd end up with we'd be studying the Holocaust, and they would say, and the teacher would be like, "Okay, you can leave if you want to," and almost all the girls would leave, and I would just be like, I would just stay because I didn't want to be looked at as weak. And that kind of like developed this whole like way of looking at it from an abstract space. But then I met Nana, and I think the first thing she told me about Czech history was Lidice, which was, we can talk, we're going to probably do a podcast about stuff like that. So we'll save the details for that, but it was and it was horrible. And hearing it come from someone who is only like a few generations away from who it happened to, like I just started to get that emotion back, and to the point where we went to the Holocaust Museum in DC, and I cried. We both cried a little.
I took you to Lidice years later too.
Yeah, Lidice, like it did me in. That one was hard to deal with.
But like obviously we are playing with the thought of doing a podcast, a history podcast, where Cole would basically give me questions and I would answer it, and we would talk about the history of Central Europe. So we would talk about things like Cold War, Second World War, and so on, but from the perspective of people from Eastern Bloc, to put it this way. So
instead of ally-centric perspective, a geographically centric perspective.
Yeah,
very cool.
And cool. I thought of it because every so often, when an anniversary of something that happened in Czechia would come along, Nana would make a post, and and she's always been open to telling people about it, and I see how important that is to her. So I thought it would be actually pretty cool to do that too. Oh, Joe's here.
Have you seen? Yes. Can you hear me? I'm gonna cry. I can hear you.
This is like my favorite theater. Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is like my favorite theater. Look at this.
Oh my gosh.
Awesome.
I miss you, baby. I miss you.
It's like there's like hardly anybody here. But traffic getting here was like worse. I didn't anticipate it getting almost back to normal, so that's why I'm like late getting to the stream.
Strange. I wouldn't have thought that it would be weird. It's a Tuesday.
Yeah, it was unreal. But the theater is kind of, well, it's practically empty in here.
I love it. So this is the reason why I'm like, I miss you. I miss you. This is the theater I saw Avatar in when I was really hungover and like very young. This theater is one of the 2 theaters in Chicago that has pre-screenings. And so Joe and I were talking earlier today about how, like, when Steven and I lived in Chicago, we went to pre-screenings a lot. So beautiful.
I
want to go back to
theater. Okay. And I was like, oh yes, it's either that or Navy Pier, the Navy Pier IMAX. And Joe and I were like, there's no way that we wouldn't have been at some of the same screenings together, like before we met each other, right? So
5 degrees of separation.
It is. It's weird. Instead of the Kevin Bacon rule, it's the Zack Snyder rule. Hey, Tenet, I liked it. I vote yes, see Tenet. I tried to get Steven to go tonight. I was like, we're going to go at 8 p.m. He was like, I can't. Boo.
Why can't you? What do you do?
He has, work. We both have work. I have to leave the pod. Like, my hard stop is because I have work. So,
but you're drinking.
Oh yeah. One beer.
Oh yeah.
Listen, I might be American, but this podcast is European enough.
I sent you the recipe and you never responded to me. By the way.
No. That's fine.
I'm sorry, it's planting season. So it's like so speech follows the opposite schedule as farmers. Farmers plant in the spring and harvest in the fall. This is planting season for speech teams. So I am like cramming so much. I'm working like every moment of the day that I'm not actively doing the mom thing. Yeah, see, I just got a message. In case you didn't see on Facebook, there's pros night tonight in 15 minutes. Can you be there? No? Like, it's planting season, so we're very busy. Joe, where are you now? Show us again. I miss it.
Give us a tour of the cinema, and we will all just be.
We want the cinema tour.
I gotta get sustenance. I gotta get something to drink.
Sustenance.
I can like show you what.
Hey, this is a good question. What's your movie theater order? While Joe's ordering hers, mine is absolutely the largest popcorn with so much butter and like a large Diet Dr. Pepper.
Yep, basically, but not Dr. Pepper. That's gross. Tea.
You know, I'll never forget. We had when I lived in Michigan. Still, we had this AMC theater. It was pretty close to where I live, but it was in like a sketchy area, so the tickets were very cheap because like once a month someone got shot there.
Yeah, and the host mom would say, "Take the kids, it'll be fine."
Yeah, it was like take the kids, it'll be fine. Look, we had to go in certain times, okay, but the tickets were really cheap. But what was the funniest was that my host mom, she figured out that she got one of those like buckets that they have there for the popcorn.
The bags.
Yeah.
And they have it like, no, this one was a bucket because it lasted good 5 months.
Oh, because when I was there with you, it was a bag that you kept folded in your purse.
Oh yeah, that one that was a level up after that. But basically, so what?
You level up.
Look, that cinema, like the memories I have, like we would always go there and we would bring this massive bucket and we would be like, you know, because you got a free refill on those. So they would just refill it. We like 6 months we didn't pay for popcorn. We would just like
when
refill
I
the
was
old
with her
one.
and the kids, we took the kids to see Star Wars, and she pulled out the bag and asked for a refill. I was scandalized. Like, I'm into like hiding candy and food, but when it came to this, I was like, we're gonna get our asses kicked out.
Wait. Am I the only one who goes to theaters where people just full on bring in takeout?
Oh no, I was
bring it in, but
I once snuggled a family-sized pizza in there too.
or the curry she brought in when we were together.
Yes. Okay, when Stephen and I would go to the Stephen, was it an AMC in Evanston? I don't remember. Whatever. We would go to a theater in Evanston. That was like 10 minutes. He's not answering. And like people would bring in 2 white carryout bags full of like 6 boxes of takeout and sit down with their family in a row and pass out their burritos and enchiladas and their Chinese takeout and their sushi and I'm not kidding. It was full meals, but it was like Friday night, so no one cared. Cinemark. Oh, Dave, you're
I like that rather than responding to you over there, he goes on YouTube and comments on it in a live.
You didn't look at me.
Everybody. I gotta go in. The theater. What did you guys want to see? I got like a few minutes. Someone said they wanted to see something.
I mean,
just a tour of the theater. What are your favorite parts of that theater?
Oh, where I showed you, where the overlook, where you can like, if you walk close enough to the glass, you can see down to the street. I love it. It's like the greatest view. And then, the lobby. There's like
I love you, best city in the world.
There's like signs everywhere keeping people like socially distanced, you know, and you know they like prepare the popcorn and drinks and stuff. I mean, the popcorn off, and you can't get the butter machine.
Good thing I hate butter.
It's like super safe, you know.
Yes, I felt the same way when I went to see Tenet in theaters too. I was like, whoa, this is like I feel safer here than I do at Walmart.
I mean, when we went to see,
I
when
can't
we
show
went to
you
see
inside the
Tenet,
theater. I can't show you inside the theater because I turn my phone off when I go in, but because the movie's not out yet. But yeah, it's like the rows are like every other row you can sit in, and like every other seat or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they have this deal at AMC's around me that if you pay, like if you can get 10 people together, you can have the theater to yourself to see Empire State.
Yes.
And I really wish I could do that, just because like I think I know, I'm not sure if I know 10 people, but I think I might.
We can make it happen.
If you know 10 people,
you guys
it's more like
later.
I know 10 people in
Okay,
the air.
Joe, have fun at the movies.
Bye.
Bye. Jonita, bringing back American cinema, one screening at a time. Yes.
So when you're talking about bringing food into the cinema, I don't even think it's a rule in the UK that you can't bring anything with you. I've never, ever been stopped.
No, I don't think so.
And it's never been anything.
Nana wasn't stopped, but she smuggled a curry in. She still smuggled it.
I mean, I don't know.
I would have loved to sit behind you.
Out, but I do bring in like my own crisps are chips in American.
Yeah,
so I bring my own crisps and like my own sweets and drinks and stuff. But the thing that I like to order from the actual cinema, place that they sell stuff. I don't know, is it a kiosk? Whatever. Is nachos and cheese. They sell that in the cinemas, and I love the cheese sauce that they have and the nachos. And then I'd get a drink that I think we have in the UK that I'm not sure if you guys have. It is a slush, but it's a Tango Ice Blast, and it's my absolute favorite drink at the cinema. And
what is it?
So good.
There was in the cinema when I was with Nana in January. I was startled. I was like, wait, you can get scooped ice cream here?
Oh yeah,
Ben and Jerry's.
I took her to Cinnabon, and they have a Robin and Baskins there. So they make you like this massive ice cream if you want, but obviously that's closed now.
Jessica, same. I like smuggling McDonald's into the cinema. I did that with my brother a few times when we saw movies on a Tuesday matinee. But like when I like to go to the cinema, I just like to get the really big popcorn, but then I don't put butter on it because that stuff tastes like trash.
It doesn't taste like real butter. I still love
Every
it.
once in a while, like my friend Chris will be with me and he'll get a big popcorn too and he'll smother it in butter and I'll taste a piece just to remind myself I hate it. Because it smells
What
good.
about the shakers? So they don't have those available at mine anymore, but when they did, the shaker seasonings were where it was at.
I just like the normal popcorn, and then I get cherry vanilla Diet Coke.
Ooh.
His Diet Coke is the best, just saying.
Oh, Diet Coke is the nectar of life. Oh, I cannot.
Diet Coke. I hate Diet Coke.
But one day,
the most popular beverage in the world.
When my brothers and I saw Birds of Prey, we went to the Dolby Theater, so everyone's got their recliners and it's posh and everything. And I could swear I could smell ShopRite rotisserie chicken. Specifically ShopRite because I worked there for a year, so I became intimately acquainted with the smell. And it's not a bad smell, it's good. I could swear I could smell it. And then after the movie ended, I'm helping my brother come down the stairs, and I look over to the side, and I see two people who had been eating one each a full rotisserie chicken. And containers under their chairs.
What is the girl interrupted in there? Like,
It's funny though. If we really want to smuggle something good, we put it in my brother Christian's bag because he's got CP. Or cerebral palsy, so he walks with crutches. So it's like everyone expects him to have a bag, and no one ever searches the handicapped kid. And if they do, they usually let him go. It was funny. The one time he did get searched was at Batman v Superman because WB sent their own security guards to the pre-screening. And they searched his bag, and the guy just looked in, saw like a pile of snacks, a few cheeseburgers, and he looks, they never search you, do they? He goes, nope. He goes, fair enough, you can go.
Nice. Good job, WD security. Good job. Doing a solid.
So funny.
Doing a solid.
He's like, he understood the like why Christian was carrying that for me immediately.
Secret code. Chelsea, what's your theater snack? I'm like dying to know because you also don't like jump scares like me. So
I also like to put seasoning on top of my popcorn. I like to put cheese, like cheese seasoning with white cheddar.
Yeah.
But I also like large white cherry slushies.
Ooh. So what is this? Yeah, we're all like, wait, let's go get ice cream. Let's go get slushies. This is the make yourself hungry stream.
Yeah, how did we end up on food
every
again?
stream?
Third stream in a row. We're
every time because food. We all have to interact with food every single day.
On the stream, and we start talking about food. That's like a given.
Absolutely.
Nana and I smuggled into the cinema when we saw The Hobbit 2. We took in gigantic containers of Chinese food from the food court.
A sedative? But you wished it had been a sedative.
And you paid by the pound, so we just loaded up because we knew we'd be in there for a while, and we just grazed on it throughout the whole. And it was only us in the cinema too. That was a nice one.
You know,
I'm old and I don't smuggle. Well, I smuggle some food in sometimes, like some snacks and stuff, but mostly, I snuggle blankets. I'm a blanket snuggler. I will wear a blanket with a belt around me like it's a poncho. I fucking will.
You don't have to smuggle those in my area. They might stop you to make sure you're not hiding a gun or something, but
right.
If you bring in blankets, they're just like, that's fine. Please don't leave it there, you know.
I will. That dream lounger is mine. This is my house. My shoes are coming off. I am absolutely snuggling into a blanket. I'm that person.
If I know the movie is going to be long, I'll take my shoes. Sometimes I'll take my shoes off, and my guy friends are like, "Why?"
I feel like we just discovered a theater etiquette rule because Fatma's face was like, "You did what?"
That's what my friend Raymond.
No, I'm reading the comment. I mean, wear the blanket. If anything, sometimes I wish I had a blanket. No, not at all.
Oh, yes.
I'm trying to.
Where did she go?
Oh, I think she went to look at the comments and accidentally left. Give her a moment. She'll be back. She's only got a few minutes left. Like, I get overheated really easily.
What do you mean she's only got a few minutes left?
It's 5 minutes to 8, love.
Oh, okay. She could have said goodbye.
Well, she'll probably be back in a minute.
I hope
No,
so.
I'd absolutely love to like bring a blanket. Actually, I might do that some next time.
I get overheated really easily, but then when I'm like relaxing in the lounger, I'll start to get really cold.
There she is.
So I'll use that as a blanket.
I was like, she could have said goodbye.
No, that is called an Irish goodbye, where you just disappear without telling anyone goodbye.
Deuces, I'm out.
That's my favorite way to leave a party, honestly.
Where the fuck
disappear? And exactly, and you're like, whatever. Like the next day, everyone's like, "Where'd you go?" And you're like,
"I'm Batman."
No one cares. You were a bit too busy having fun. I wasn't trying to bring down the energy. I just needed to dip, you know? Anyway,
okay.
I'm back.
I can respect that.
Actually,
the
the
nachos
blanket
and
idea,
cheese.
Amanda.
Oh, wait, what?
I love the blanket idea. I think I might do it.
Just straight up.
I feel like
if I
went
have
to
like
the
a
cinema
coat
full of
that's
sleep.
extremely thick, I might just like bring that in.
I have done that before. I have worn a coat too warm for the weather so that I can, because it's just from your car to the door, you'll survive. And then just covered up. Like I'm a creature. I'm a comfort person. The thing I love about the nachos, Fat Mom, is that they're warm. The chips themselves are warm. Why does that make it better? I don't know.
It's the cheese sauce for me. Honestly, it's the
You know it's from a pan, right?
The thing is, I haven't perfected a cheese sauce recipe. Every time I make it, it's so bad. And I need to make sure that I can make a cheese sauce. And I've used so much cheese.
You sound like
and I'm like, why is the roux? Because there's a roux pot. You make a roux at the beginning.
Yes, you make a roux first.
Why do you not want to work with me? I just want to eat plenty of you. That's all I want to do, and it never works. So I end up having to pay overpriced cheese at cinema to enjoy it.
You need to get. I'm sure that they don't even sell this in the UK, like anywhere in Europe. They're just like, this is awful for you, and no one would ever eat this. We call it Velveeta.
Yeah, it's literally the most artificial thing, but it's so good.
You're Googling it. It's so gross. Velveeta. Yeah.
She's on it.
It is not even sliced American cheese. It's like
it's so artificial, but it's so
older sister of. That's what you need to get. Screw cheese. It's like a solidified cheese sauce.
I remember these artificial cheeses when I came to the States, and like kids were always obsessed with macaroni and cheese, and you would get those packets, like the box ones, and then you would I didn't know what I'm doing, so I go buy the whatever's on the box, right? And I'm cooking it, and I pull out the powder that you're supposed to put in there, and I'm looking at the color, and I'm just
Kraft. That's not Velveeta.
But
oh my god, it comes in so many different ways.
It's the same, like the color is the same.
Velveeta's like the rich poor person's macaroni and cheese. Like
it is
still poor, but you're like a few steps up.
Like you can afford something solid and not just a powder. Yeah, I get
it. Right.
I think the only mac and cheese thing I haven't liked that was instant was ramen. I had macaroni and cheese flavored ramen. And it was the most disgusting thing. There was no actual cheese. It just tasted like it, and it was so bad.
I've had that one. It's really gross. I mean, the only way to make ramen, though, is to put basically no water in the noodles. Take all the water out, mix the powder around the noodles, and then add just enough water to get it the consistency you want. Because with so many of them, it's too, I don't know.
You know, I find it fascinating.
Velveeta. Do you just put it in a pan and melt it, and then you can
if you get the block.
Absolutely. So this is what a lot of people do in America. This is a common thing.
Amanda, you're gonna get in trouble. It's 8 o'clock. Are you sure you're gonna not gonna get in trouble?
No. 8 Central. I'm good. I got another hour.
Oh. That's when we all get on anyway.
I know, but I was like, I have to go. So don't let me hang around. Is what I'm saying. Basically, you take a brick of cream cheese and you put it in the bottom of your glass pie pan. Okay, you spread it out over the whole bottom of your glass pie pan. Then you take a can of chili, no beans, and you put it over the cream cheese. Just Hormel chili, no beans. Then you take either shredded cheese or my personal favorite, Velveeta. You cube it, or you put it in little matchstick chunk thingies, and you put it on top, and then you broil it. And then you put your chips in it. Any chip. It doesn't matter. You're welcome. That's American Midwest comfort food right there. That's an appetizer in America.
Cheese is life. That's all I can say.
It's like, for me, it was just fascinating. When I saw the color of these things, whether it's Velveeta or Kraft, I was like,
yeah.
Are you sure that's edible?
Unnatural. No, we're not. We're going to eat it.
It's probably not edible at all. It's probably very ill-advised. But you know what? Fuck it. I still have it in my pantry.
Yes. and I will still eat the
Sounds
nachos.
great. I want some, and I don't know why we don't have cheese.
Fatma, you need to find one of those international snack boxes.
I'm pretty sure you could get some though, like in
the American section of your supermarket.
Yeah, because I was able to get the Kraft mac and cheese here, so I'm sure you'll be able to get Velveeta here.
Yeah, Amanda and Chelsea, I have to tell you about this. So you know how in America we go to the grocery store and there's an ethnic foods aisle for tacos and Chinese stuff. For in UK, there's an end cap or a section of an aisle that's literally just the worst of the worst American food. It's just
Pop-Tarts,
you can still find
Twinkies here. What?
You can still find Twinkies here.
Okay, you got that. We'll give you Twinkies, I guess.
It's literally to me at least, it's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Sugary stuff and just pure processed food, like where you're just, it doesn't even resemble a natural whole.
Stopped because UK people are smarter than us.
Yeah. Exactly. So hold up, how did we end up at cheese again? We ended up at cheese again. We were talking about scary movies.
We were
Chelsea
talking about
like jump scares. Fatma likes everything.
So Jessica keeps bringing up the Batman, and I think we should talk about it because we keep forgetting.
Yeah. Okay.
The Batman is filming literally like 45 minutes away from me in Liverpool, and I'm in Manchester. And I feel like maybe I should just make my way to Liverpool and pretend like I didn't know that it was there, and just
like stock. Do it for us,
please,
and film it, like vlog it.
Yes.
Even if you don't get to see much, but vlog the experience. You know, Nana wasn't a big DC fan, but she was living in Detroit when they filmed BVS, and I still hate her for it because she didn't know much about it, so she didn't set stock or anything.
You know, there is a funny story to that. When I moved to Detroit, it was summer 2014, so BVS was actually shooting in downtown when I was there, and I was always, into hockey. I was a jock kid all the time. So when we went to downtown the first time, my host mom was like, "Well, do you want to see Joe Louis Arena?" And I was like, "Yes, of course I want to see Joe Louis Arena. Like NHL, like I'm all for it." So we got to downtown. And we couldn't get to Joe Louis because BBS was shooting, and I was so annoyed. And looking back at it, I was like, I'm so stupid. I should have just gone and watched the set of BBS. And instead of that, I was annoyed that I couldn't get to a fucking hockey stadium.
You know, my dad used to work on Wall Street because he works for JP Morgan. And his office on Wall Street used to be up really high, and you would look down on Wall Street, and they would shut down that street to film different movies. And he would be able to walk to the end of the hallway and look out the window and watch them filming. And he would look no matter what, even if it wasn't like something he was into. And I'm so jealous. He works in Jersey City because after 9/11 they moved. But it would work from home now, but still. And he, even on the street his office is in Jersey City, they occasionally shut down the street for filming, and he just looks out the window and he's like, "Oh, that's cool." I mean, there was a scene in the new Ghostbusters they filmed, and he was able to watch it from the tower. Yeah. And like in the original ones, at one point, there was a few scenes he was able to watch from the tower, from his office in New York as well. It's just mind-boggling to me.
I've been able to watch certain stunts done on the Chicago River or like on certain parts of the road system in Chicago, but much more commonly, it didn't matter where I worked in the city. At least once a month, some TV show was filming, like not movies, but TV, always filming. Like every.
I mean, Chicago's got Chicago Fire, Chicago PD,
Chicago Met. Yes, and it was all like they were everywhere. It was like whack-a-mole. Like
I love the
Is it cheaper? Is it cheaper for studios and whatnot to film in Chicago over New York? And I know like Vancouver is the one that Vancouver's the one that a lot of them go to because it's a ton cheaper.
Yeah, honestly, a lot. I think Atlanta is the preferred film production. If you're not going to go Hollywood or New York, it's Atlanta. But Chicago is cheaper than New York and LA for sure.
Yeah, if we get word around here that someone's filming in New York, it's usually like a really big project, like one that gets like it's like Spielberg's directing or something.
Right. I don't know.
You know, it's funny. It's funny. Speaking of near misses with things, my town, I will not say the name, but it's one that everyone would know. I live in North Jersey, and when I was in 5th grade, there was a rumor that Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner were spending summers here.
Yes.
And it was true.
Yes.
And we never saw them, but there was, of course, but because we have this lake and everyone has these bungalows and these posh houses down there. And I was a fan at that point because I was daily binge watching Elektra and Daredevil on repeat, but still it was like, but I didn't think it was real because like I would be around town and I would never see hide nor hair of either of them. And then after they left, they confirmed they had been here for like 2 summers in a row. And I was like,
I would have liked to see Hyde.
I mean, Batman and everything, so.
Mm-hmm. What are your guys's? Yes, that's exactly why it's about the tax breaks. Yes, and Atlanta has positioned itself to be that way. That's actually part of Georgia and Atlanta Board of Tourism's like that's not an accident. Like it's a very strategic initiative for them. And Atlanta also is probably like I would say Black Hollywood and Black Nashville. It happens to be very close to Nashville as well. So a lot of record companies will HQ in Atlanta, but actually be sourcing out of Nashville for talent. So like it's geographically well positioned. And in order for them to get tax breaks, but still not be like in the middle of, I don't know, Idaho, you know? Yeah. But I would say Atlanta really is like Black Hollywood and Black Wall Street and Black all of that. Like it is in 2020 what Tulsa was before white racist people burned Tulsa down. Not to remind anyone of that, but hey, welcome to America.
So how does everyone feel about the set photos we've seen so far of the Batman? It's just been making me excited. Like now that I know that it's Elsa, yes, Fatma. Fatma
summed it up honestly.
On the timeline, we've seen you. We clocked you.
Batcat.
I know Batcat is. They're just so glorious and beautiful, and it's like, for me, I'm screaming and bisexual, so I'm like, ah!
I'm screaming and bisexual.
But like, so what I like so far, what I've seen, I'm looking for my man's Andy Serkis. I'm annoyed that we haven't seen him yet.
Yeah,
he's in some studio covered in goth somewhere. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
So Jessica was saying in the comments,
you know, I like this is like my favorite one though.
I was gonna ask, can we pull some up? Yes.
So a lot of people were arguing on Facebook, I saw, about the fact that they hired Colin Farrell, but they made him look like someone else. And it's like, guys, they hire people for talent, not just looks. But like I like props to their makeup department. That's crazy. I mean, like I kind of wish he looked more like.
Go back again. Can we go back again? I need to take another look.
I wish he looked like Oswald Cobblepot in Gotham, but I can dig it. I understand the whole dark sort of angry look.
Interesting. interesting.
Jessica was saying in the comments over here that you get fined £1,000 if you get caught set stalking, and that you have to have proof that you're a local to Liverpool.
Oh, it's
so, Dana, you're dating someone in Liverpool, and we're gonna find them. And also, we're starting a GoFundMe. The first GoFundMe of League of Mayhem stream for Fatma's jail fund, so she can go set stock. Thank you.
What? Is there anyone in Liverpool that I'm actually dating?
No. You. It has to be you.
Oh,
Yeah, in the comments, let us know if you're in Liverpool.
Understand, this is a vital and important mission that you have to go.
Do you know how, I understand the stress, though. When people heard that Zach was filming Army of the Dead in Atlantic City in Jersey, I had so many people DMing us on Nerd Queens and on my private asking, hey, Cole, you going to go set stock? I'm like, I don't want the man to make a restraining order. Like, we've spoken once. I don't want... And also, it's like people forget that Atlantic City is like 3-hour drive from where I live. Because,
also,
the thing about Cole is she gets much less adventurous when I'm not around. Because I usually come around and I come up with some crazy idea, and she's just like, okay, I'll roll with it.
I just want to get.
We probably would have came up with something like, we'll tell Zach we're gonna come set stock, so if you see us, don't be alarmed. But see, I thought about it and I was like, he barely knows who I am. If I just pop up, we're gonna get banned from everything.
So I'm just wondering, Jessica, do you mean like the COVID lockdown, or is this a set thing? Because I think she's saying you get fined for breaking the lockdown, apparently, which is the thing that we have been fining people for because of COVID. I don't know if she means
she says this
like COVID or due to
COVID. But yeah,
well, like
they're not even gonna let you in.
Absolutely honest here, Jessica. I completely understand this whole thing with fine, but I have never ever seen anybody enforce it around here ever.
Honey, Cardiff has had a completely different reaction than Liverpool. They were on the news in America yesterday. If you're on the news in America, something must be going on.
That's probably why they're panicking. Okay, that explains a lot.
Yeah,
so
and also after,
I don't think it,
go on.
I don't think it's been enforced at all, and like I don't know, it
probably wasn't enforced, but now the spike is happening and they're freaking out and they're like shit. And then also Liverpool itself is probably freaking out because the Batman filming there is big money. So, and after the scare with Rob testing positive and the cast having to take 2 weeks off and the threat of getting canceled for a while, they probably are overreacting a tiny bit just to keep it safe enough to make the money there.
Yeah, possibly.
Police cars patrolling, that's interesting. The one thing I was jealous of was I was on TikTok and some people were posting videos from the highway they were driving on, and there was Gotham police cars and fire trucks going by to head to the set, and people were like, what the... People like, oh, yada yada, going to work, normal. Gotham, what?
I wish.
Question.
What? Next time I'm around a set, I will not be upset that I cannot get to a hockey stadium. I promise.
Thank you in advance. What city is Gotham? In America, we fight between New York and Chicago.
Like Detroit, probably.
I will fight you.
I would say Detroit.
See, I like
actually the comic.
Make your case. Wait. I've never heard a case for Detroit, but I am interested now.
I've actually heard
like
cases
wild.
for Detroit. I mean,
you hear a lot about Detroit.
So the comic creators have said that Gotham is a city in New Jersey. It's not a specific city, but it's in New Jersey, which to me is hysterical because it's like, yeah, The cities are pretty shitty, just except I'd actually want to be in Gotham.
You know what? No, I like the idea of Detroit, and I'm running with it now.
I actually, honestly,
That's not
I've always said it's Chicago. Gotham is Chicago, always. But, like, I don't hate it being Detroit, actually. Especially because Detroit, I think, looks visibly skeletal from what it was.
Yeah.
No, I mean that very seriously. It does. Like, it's but it's like entire neighborhoods of like vacant houses. That's weird. Like, I don't see that. You don't see that in very many others.
Okay, a drop in the
Jersey
ocean.
needs a Jersey accent.
Wait,
Okay.
hold on, but I don't have an accent, and I've been born and raised here. I literally don't. So I don't know. Are you going for like a Jersey Yorker accent or a Jersey Pennsylvania or a non-accent like me where no one can tell where I'm from?
I think there's like Italian Jersey, and that's what people think Jersey is, but that's really like
What's Italian Jersey?
Like literally beneath the Jersey Shore. Yes.
What's the matter, you?
Jersey. Geordie's the British version of Jersey Shore. That's what it is.
Jersey.
Well, what does Jersey sound like from the UK? The UK Jersey. What does that sound like? They're islanders, right? They're weird people.
Geordie. No, it's Newcastle. It's in Newcastle. And don't ask me to do any accents because I will sound so bad.
Italian Jersey is a lot like New York Jersey. New Yorker is like a New York Italian, except in New York, it seems like your ability to control your temper goes out the window. In Jersey, you still can control your temper a tiny bit, and also in
Jersey they're still singing. In New York, they're shouting at you.
And both states do not have the ability to stop talking and breathe. Like if you get an Italian from either place going. Blah, 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 you have to get used to somebody like getting everything together. I'm Southern, so not familiar with all, but I think it was.
I don't hate that idea. I don't hate the idea. I do think that like architecturally, Gotham has always felt very Gothic to me. So I tend to gravitate towards cities that have a lot of Gothic style architecture.
I think that's why I like thinking of it as its own place instead of like based on somewhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, my husband Steven said as he walked up, he's like, "It's an imaginary place like right?
Thank you, Mr. Colbert, calling in from the staircase.
Yeah.
So I feel like in the UK, the two cities that are most like Gotham, I'm not saying Manchester just because it's Manchester, but we've got quite a bit of Gothic architecture in Glasgow, and they already filmed in Glasgow, and especially like the necropolis scene. Guys, I'm not even joking. Like I cannot wait for this movie because when I was in Glasgow, literally a week before they started filming, guys, it kills me. I should have put my holiday a bit more like closer to the filming, but they did the necropolis shooting, and the entire city of Glasgow has so much like architecture that resembles that Gothic vibe that you were talking about. So I know the UK doesn't have anything to do with this, but in my head, I feel like those two cities merged would be perfect for Gotham. London is too,
modern
to a degree.
London
yeah,
too many modern districts. But
Well,
I understand
talked about it though. That's what he said. That's like why he chose Liverpool, because it just like that Gotham in its own doesn't look like a typical American city because of the Gothic architecture and all that stuff. So
that's why I just kind of keep it in my mind like as its own place. I mean, when Gotham the show was filming, it was in New York. They filmed mostly in New York City, but they would also travel to other cities to get certain locations just to like get like a certain spot where they would build what they needed. But I am excited. I doubt that I'm going to recognize anything. I love watching movies and recognizing stuff. Nana knows because like after I visited her in Prague, sometimes I'll be watching a movie like, oh, I've been there. I
found out there's surprisingly a lot of movies that have Prague set as a location. It's just like you just don't really realize it. Or I didn't realize it for like longest
My
time.
man, Brian Rivera.
All right, Jersey. You know what? It's the one thing
Hey,
you get,
Jersey
so
has
you can
absolutely
have it.
nothing. You got to give us
The one thing. You can't even make left-hand turns, okay? So you can
Hey,
have
we get
that.
right turn on red. We can do that. So
We get that too. Like, what?
I feel like I walked
We
into this
all
really
get right turns.
strange fight over I have no idea what right now.
anyway, Nana
So
was saying,
this is a very specific American fight. In New Jersey, it's like I don't think there's anywhere else in the country that does this. In New Jersey, you are not allowed to pump your own gas. First of all,
yeah.
which is the strangest thing in the world.
hang
It's
on,
like go back to
hang on.
1950.
Okay,
And
hang on. There's something funny about pumping your. So my best friend had to come from the Czech Republic, a foreign country. She had to get her license, and then she came to America, and then I had to visit her in Detroit to learn how to pump gas.
And the best part was when she did it the first time she came, and she just like knocked on my window. I was sitting in the driver's seat. She knocked on my window. She goes, "Nana." I'm like, "What?" She goes, "Can you help me?"
She was so excited though. She took a picture and sent it to my dad. He's like, "Look, I've taught her to pump gas."
And then they also have on their road systems, they don't like have a places where you will turn left to go to a place that's on your left. If you want to go to a place on your left, you exit right, and it takes you like looped around. But like there's like no left turn. It's left turns don't exist. It's like a different world.
You know what? But Detroit has that too. But with us, what that used to be, that you had to pass the crossroads and you had to go a little bit further and take a U-turn. That's how you turned left.
But have you ever driven in Washington, D.C.? That's a fucking nightmare.
Oh my God.
No, refuse, will not.
You like Nana would get so stressed occasionally. She'd be like, "You have to drive," and then I would get stressed, and it'd be like, "Okay, I'll figure it out."
Wait, so what's the bad traffic in the UK? Who has bad traffic in the UK?
London.
You know what? UK driving. Oh my God! Don't get me started. First of all, so me, the person who learned to drive on the right side of the road, come to the UK. Of course, they're driving on the left, right? I'm always joking around because I'm like, it's so funny because like I learned in Czech, so I learned to drive kilometers on the right side of the road and with manual transmission. Then I moved to the US, so I could drive on the right side of the road in miles and automatic transmission. And then I moved to the UK, so I could drive in miles on the left side of the road, and I could do which transmission I want to do.
Nana,
but I do automatic because I can't really imagine myself like doing manual transmission with the other hand. Like that's not going to happen. It's just going to die on me if I do that.
The host people Nana had always would let her use like a newer car. In my car, Roxy, I love her. She's a 2008 Hyundai Santa Fe. So she's a lot older than the cars Nana was used to driving. And I was used to driving. So when I visited her in Detroit, at one point the car turned off at the stoplight. And I didn't know that was like, what's going on? Are we okay? Not to alarm anyone, but I think we're fine.
But my issue was, so when I got to the UK, we were driving to a Comic-Con, and so basically I had to cross the entire Wales. And my issue with the British roads is the following. First of all, they are incredibly narrow. So
I feel like there's a story there.
Yes, because I managed to lose side view mirror thanks to that. And my second issue is the bloody roundabouts. I did not think there is a possibility in the world to have such a high concentration of roundabouts
Yeah.
Like there are areas where you go and you have to pass a roundabout to get on a roundabout to get on a massive roundabout. And you have to do the whole thing to get off that roundabout again.
Nana, that's probably where Washington, D.C. gets it. They left London and they left England. They fucked off from England, decided to make their roads just like it.
Yep.
Because that was
Okay, so I feel like we've got
But you know what? Like this is like it. The worst part about British roundabouts isn't like the roundabouts themselves. It's the way that they are structured. Because like when you drive on the right side of the road, you get on the roundabout, right? Like a normal human being, and then you put out, you know, the flashlights, the blinkers. You put them out as you're leaving the certain way that you're leaving. In Britain, that's not going to happen. First of all, you have to hit the right lane in order to get from the right exit on the roundabout, which if you've never actually been on that roundabout, that's quite fun to do. And then if you're exiting the first exit, you do one blinker. If you exit the second exit, you do no blinker. And if you exit the third exit, you do the other blinker. What is that for? And if you don't do it right, they're gonna honk you out like you just committed murder. And I'm like,
you haven't let me drive there yet.
What am I doing? You know what?
Fatma, what's your deal with narrow streets? You had like a visceral reaction.
So I'm currently learning how to drive, just to let you guys know, because in the UK, we don't have driver's ed at like, you know, the US does, where you learn it as part of your high school and you're done and you've got it at 17. Here, you do it whenever you feel like you need to. And I've always been extremely busy with other things and I've never needed to drive, but now I am. And my driving instructor is constantly screaming down to me, to the left, which like in my head, I'm like Beyonce. But anyway, to the left, because we drive on the road. And then, yeah, so then when I am to the left, and obviously the roads are narrow, he's like, "You're gonna clip my car," and I'm like, "Well, you've told me to stay to the left." He was like, "Well, not now." So there's always that continuous thing, and we do have narrows because the UK is slightly smaller, and a lot of the cities that have become cities weren't like in America. You have city planners and you plan the city in blocks. Whereas in Manchester, for example, it's the cities just came to be through time. And with roundabouts, were you by any chance in Milton Keynes?
No, I haven't, but I actually have tickets for a concert there next year. So is it going to be fun?
Well, you hate roundabouts. The place that is absolutely saturated in roundabouts and is famous for them and pretty much has no, I don't think they have any traffic lights, is Milton Keynes.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say there is a place in the UK that has 0 traffic lights. Yes.
So when you get to Milton Keynes, tell me how you feel about the roundabouts there, because when I was being driven
on the highway and
it was constantly just this.
Fatma, don't feel that.
I agree with Ryan that nothing is worse than a California driver.
Yeah, I highlighted this because I have an argument here. It's not true. We've driven in California, and the worst drivers of all that we've driven. And where did we drive a call? It was Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Delaware, Virginia, California, Nevada. The worst drivers ever, Massachusetts and stuff.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna kill somebody.
Yeah.
Boston specifically, or just Massachusetts?
Boston was the worst.
Boston's road system is absolutely horrific. But California drivers, weirdly, so when I went to college, I went to a college in the Midwest, you know, where I grew up. But a lot of the people that I happen to know and become friends with happen to be from Orange County. So I know like a lot of people from that general area in California. And almost none of them had their driver's licenses when they came to the Midwest, which was wild to me. And it turns out that like half of them, well, half of them didn't need them, but the other half were like, oh no, I've just been in enough car accidents that like I'm just like I have like trauma. I'm like too scared to get behind the what? You've been in too many cars. Like you're 16 and you're like, you know what? Driving's not for me. Like that's just.
Hey, at least they figured that part out. There's some people I've known in town who never have to this day not figured that out and totaled like 12 cars.
But see, in the UK, as you said, Fatma, that's a smaller country. So you also have better public transit. So you don't necessarily need a car to live across the whole country. Like I could decide to stay with Nana and then the next day go stay with Fatma and get there on a train. I would never have to drive.
When I first met Nana, she told me her mom was away for the day grocery shopping in Germany, and that's when I finally realized that's how small the UK, like Europe, is, and it blew my mind.
France is like a state. France is like Texas or something like that. It's wild. You think about it and you're like, holy, but then that I don't think America is like America, the political system is like, yay, but like the geography, holy hell, I love living in a country that has deserts and fucking oceans and mountains and fucking deciduous forests and coniferous forests and the oldest fucking mountain range with the greatest biodiversity and the Appalachia. Like, I'm sorry.
No, like natural wise, I can totally understand. Fatma, don't feel bad about making mistakes as a new driver. When I was when I was being taught to drive, my instructor had to reach over, take the wheel, and physically force me onto the highway because I was like, I can't do this. I can't. And then
it's like an odd word.
Are you a driver? Because we're talking about driving things here. You're just sitting there quietly.
Yeah, I'm a driver. I've been driving since I was 16. But I didn't get my license until I was 17.
I got mine when I was. Excuse me, young lady. You didn't get your license till you were 17, but you're driving.
Yeah. That's funny.
Chelsea's wild.
I've been driving since I was 15, but in Indiana, you start learning to drive when you're 15 and you get a learner's permit. So you just need an adult with you to be able to drive at 15 in Indiana. So I've been driving since I was 15, but like, and I've had my license since I was 16. In the US, because we are geographically so much larger, like it's more spaced out. You know, I didn't grow up 2 miles from the school that I went to. I grew up 7 miles from the school that I went to. So I can't walk 7 miles in the morning to school.
Yeah, that's basically.
Texas is bigger than the whole of Britain.
You know, I'm gonna give you guys a little comparison that is like, I find it quite like interesting, and it's funny when I speak to like my parents and my grandparents and stuff. My mom not so much because she's traveled with me and she's been to places like London and so on. But my grandparents and, for example, my dad, they have no concept of what multi-million cities look like and what just sheer size of them is, because Czech Republic has 10 million people. You could fit my entire home country on Manhattan alone.
Barely.
And Prague, as the biggest city, has 1 million people. That's the biggest thing that my grandparents, for example, know. They've never been to like these major, massive, big cities like London, or anything in the States. They have absolutely.
It's like London, Mexico City, LA, Paris, Rome.
They have never been
there. Beijing.
Because they like my grandparents lived their entire life. Their best years they basically lived under communism, so they couldn't travel. So when the curtain fell, they were already, my mom was already an adult. I was like, curtain fell 1989. I was born in 1992. So it's like, there was
to do this podcast. You have to do this podcast. I'm not even kidding. It just blew my mind that you're one generation out from the fucking curtain fall. Sorry, from the
Wait,
curtain fall.
hang on.
Well, I was one of the last kids born in Czechoslovakia. I was born in a country that doesn't exist anymore.
Shut up! I
knew that was gonna blow your mind.
Wait. There's this guy, they call him, his nickname is the Last Soviet, okay? He was a pilot. I'm such a nerd. He was a pilot on the space station. He was a cosmonaut.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, he was sent up before things went to real shit.
Oh, no.
And then he served 9 months, and he was supposed to return. No, he was supposed to return at 5 months, but he didn't, because in that first 5 months, the curtain fell, and the USSR didn't exist anymore. So he's up there literally wearing gear on a mission for a country that doesn't exist anymore. And when he's like, "Do you guys have money to bring me home?" They're like, "Nope, actually we don't."
Hi, can I get an Uber home, please?
Exactly. And they're like, "No, actually no." So he had to serve. Then they sent a relief squad. They brought him supplies and stuff, but they didn't have another pilot who was qualified to take his place. So he had to serve another 5 months. He served 10 months straight. And when he landed, he was still wearing the USSR emblem on his suit. And they were like, "Whoa, blast from the past," because, the rest of us have been living in the now, where the USSR is long dead.
That's
so
hysterical. I love that. That actually
real story.
That was quite a shock. No, but I was born at the end of September 1992, and Czechoslovakia ceased to exist on the 1st of January 1993. So I was born into a country that does not exist anymore.
Just like Gotham doesn't exist technically, but does, because Batman.
I want to hurt you. I need to make a new voodoo Funko.
Excuse me. I'm gonna go put this in a jar now. I grow my own sage, sister. Anyway.
But it's funny. Before the quarantine happened, they sent up a new crew to the ISS, and then the country locked down, and so much stuff was changing, and there were so many jokes about pranking them, or what were they going to come down to. And I think my favorite was somebody was like, 5 months is enough time for us to be taken over by apes. Who's going to take one for the team and meet them on the beach dressed as apes, like Planet
Dawn of the Planet of the
So I saw a comment from, I think it was Cup of Milk. He was saying that he's from Indonesia. And let me tell you, I've seen YouTube videos of drivers in Indonesia, and I'm literally scared.
Nope, will not.
Yeah, I will.
That is chaotic. That is not chaotic neutral. That is not neutral.
That's straight suicide. They don't have lines on their roads, so you don't know where you're supposed to be. They don't have stoplights. They don't have the right of way and the nod. They just go. And
they're automatic. Here's the thing: Eastern versus Western culture. Western culture, we're all individualistic and we're not aware of anybody else. But Eastern culture, they have an innate awareness of where the other people around them are, and legitimately more conscientious of the fact that other people exist. So we need the rules, because we're like, where does my car go? But in other cultures, it works for them because they're not.
In Indonesia, they just go, and
in only Indonesia, you guys have achieved traffic then.
I feel like they say a prayer in the morning. They're like, "God, take me if it's my time. Goodbye."
Hold on, Naples, Florida, or Naples, Italy?
I think it's Italy.
Yeah, I feel like but I feel like everywhere in Europe is at a disadvantage because older, so the roads are narrower. They weren't designed for
That's
car
the thing
traffic.
is, like, what you gotta remember, European cities, for the most part, like, they are much, much older than American cities.
Yes,
so when the roads were
exactly.
built, you know, they were built like before America was America. Like, honestly.
Yes, there is a Naples in Florida. It's outside of Miami. You're welcome. Go look it up. Yes, hi.
In this in today's geography lesson.
You know, as an American, I'm used to these highways that span like 8 lanes or so. And when I went to visit Nana in Czechia, part of my trip was after a week, we went on a few days on a road trip. And of course, she drove, thank the Lord. Because, like, the highway for Czech was just a 2-lane road. I was so confused. And also, there was no laws about not passing each other. I was like gripping the seat.
There actually are laws about passing each other. If the lane is full, you can't do it. If it's double full, you are not supposed to do it at all.
Like one or two cars
like broken up, then you can pass, assuming that you can see past the car that's in front of you.
But so would start passing, and I would grip my seat as like white knuckle. Are you sure this is safe? Because in Jersey, if somebody does that, usually they're about to get their shit fucked up, and it's because you're driving too slow.
But with us, it's like the only way you can pass the car at most, like, the roads. I mean, there's like one highway in the entire country, and it's not even finished. So
wait a minute.
Then you see castles. You see castles from it. So I would start falling asleep, and she'd be like, "Castle."
Yeah.
Chelsea, are you in Michigan? Are you in Michigan, Chelsea?
No, I'm in Ohio.
Oh, that's right. We talked about this. Defio. I see you. All right. So, Midwest, East Coast, and then 2 women from the UK, 1 Czech born.
2 women.
We need to get. Can we 2 women from the UK? I have awful accents. If I try to do a British accent, it'll like merge into like Australian and then Scottish and then back to British. Like, it makes no sense.
Don't worry. You know, I have my therapist says I have a sympathetic accent, which means when I'm around someone for a while that has an accent, I start to mimic it, and I can't control it, and it's terrible. So if I'm spending a lot of time with Nana, I'll start to get if she's been to Czech recently, I might start to get a sort of British Czechy sort of sounding voice, but usually it's more like UK British, like bland. And people be like, "Why are you talking like that?" I'm like, "Talking like what?" And I'm like,
Fatma, DM me your address so I can send you some Velveeta. And yes, I will try the recipe, Nana. I just want you to know.
Back to food.
I will try the recipe. I
before we leave,
so many apples. I literally have 10 pounds of apples upstairs right now, and no children in the house. So what am I doing?
Where are the kids?
Baking. They're at my grandparents. My grandparents? They're at their grandparents. They're at my in-laws.
Nana's grandma is the best person ever. She asked Nana if I wanted anything because Nana was putting together a box when she was visiting her. And instead of asking for cookies, I asked for her grandma's apples, which is just a not freeze dried. It's like dehydrated apples, and they were so good, and I ate them all.
Well, it's our Christmas treat, you know, like we actually make these for Christmas, but since Cole asked for them, my grandma made them in the middle of August.
She's so sweet. She made me halushki when I went to visit, and it's a Czech meal with smoked meat, and it takes you a day to cook it.
I have a spoopy question. So here's my spoopy question. One, has anyone watched? I have 2 spoopy questions. One, has anyone watched Bly House? I've watched it all the way through.
Episode 1.
2, what is your preferred candy to get whilst trick-or-treating / in the Halloween season? Reese's.
I like Nana likes Nerds.
Oh yeah.
Oh, good
By the way, Nana, remember that tube of Nerds I got you and you left and you explode? She got them from Five Below. It was like a poster tube full of Nerds, and she opened it in my room and it like exploded. I was cleaning out from behind my end table for the first time in like 2 years, found a box of Nerds. Thought you would like to know. And
I mean, it could have been either a box of Nerds or that small fireball flask. I mean, it's either one or the other with us. So,
but for me, it's like, I don't know. I usually am into like whatever Hershey's got out, but my favorite all-time candy that I absolutely love is cotton candy, rock candy. Like,
ooh,
no one ever has that, so I'll settle for Hershey bars and the Heath bars with toffee in them.
Like plain Hershey bars?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I
love a Heath bar though. Chelsea, what's your Halloween treat?
I would say probably like either Twix or Kit Kat.
Yeah. Ooh, both delicious. I have some Kit Kats. Fun size Kit Kats upstairs. Come on over.
I found that in the UK they actually sell white Twix.
Yes.
They have them here too now.
They do. We do. We white, dark, and milk. Well, it's like anything you want, honestly. It's gotten bad. It's gotten weird.
What about you, Fatma? What would be your favorite candy? I don't know how much you celebrated Halloween or not. I mean, I only found my candy like when I was an adult going trick-or-treating with kids that I was taking care of. So is that like we don't celebrate Halloween in Czech, so
up until the next live that we do where we'll be dressing up.
You've never celebrated Halloween. That's you're in the UK, so I understand that.
So it's not a huge thing in the UK either. Although like some kids do trick or treat. So we do get that, and we do if we do get people knocking on the door, we do give them whatever chocolates we have. And I think it's gotten more.
Start the tradition. Start the tradition.
So it's gotten more and more popular over the last few years. But if you're just asking me what my favorite chocolate is, chocolate, I would say, no idea because I'm a crisp person. But I do love chocolate as well. And sweets, I've been obsessed with these mango gummy sweets. So they're from like the Chinese store. They're on my Instagram. They're on my foodie Instagram thing.
I think I saw that. I've been stalking your foodie Instagram quite recently.
Yes. Not to plug it in, but like
plug it in.
No, everything's downstairs. So I've been obsessed with the mango gummy sweets. They have been something that I just cannot stop eating, and I have to take them away from me because I just open one wrapper after the other. And they're from, I think they're from, I can't remember which East Asian country, but they're from one of them. And but for chocolates, let me get back to you. I have
a funny. So when I was younger, when I was about 8 years old, we went to New Mexico, Albuquerque, where my Irish grandparents live, and lived. They're both deceased now, but anyway. And so that year was one of the biggest years for trick-or-treating for us because where I live, it's in the middle of nowhere. So we have to find a neighborhood. And by the time we find one, it's usually not as occupied. Not many people are allowing trick-or-treaters. So that looks
nice. Yes.
But it was really good. So that year we went trick-or-treating, and it was like a big experience because it was like going to trick-or-treating in the city for the first time ever for a bunch of kids from the country. And so we get home, and my grandmother says, make sure you don't give anything to your grandfather because he had just been diagnosed with diabetes. Now, My grandpa had the biggest weakness for Twix and Milky Way. So he waited until my grandmother and my mom and dad and everyone was asleep. And he came to me because I was in the habit of staying up late reading books. And he comes in and he goes, "Hey kid, you got any Milky Way or Twix?" And I'm like, "My grandma said," and he's like, "No, it'll be fine." And at the time I'm 8, so I don't understand what diabetes is. So I gave him we sat on the floor, went through my candy, and I gave him Twix and Milky Way to smuggle away. And the next morning my grandma said, "Jim, I told you can't have," Irish grandmother, with the brogue and everything. "I told you can't have this. What are you doing? I'm gonna call the doctor on you." And it was so funny. And I'm just like, I didn't know. And she goes, "I'm not angry at you. I'm angry at him for using you."
That is a good Irish accent.
That is a really good Irish accent. That's how you know that you learned from someone who actually is Irish.
I'm mostly Irish. That's why I'm so pale. I'm only a little. I'm Puerto Rican, Native American, but I'm so white, so I don't often say that because people are like, "No, you're not."
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, we were talking before we get off, not get off with another topic or some more food. We were you were mentioning our next stream, for those of you who don't know, will be full on Halloween stream. We plan on having
just a teaser, guys,
and all this kind of stuff. And I was thinking maybe we could do like spooky stories as well if you guys have some.
I will find some.
Absolutely. I literally have a national title in storytelling.
You know what? I can bring in some. I
think we need to cancel
and
the
stuff
story
like
idea.
that. We can do.
We probably have to cancel the story idea now because Amanda's going to show us all up. Everyone can tell a story except her.
No. Okay, that's fine. I'm okay with that. I don't need to be the one performing it.
But yeah, no, but so that's the plan for the next one. Are we gonna do it straight on 31st?
Honey, it's not the next stream. It's the one after the next.
Okay, it's the one. But yeah, it's gonna be on Halloween.
Yeah, it'll be on Halloween. We've got no lives. We're not going anywhere. A really quick other story with trick or treating. So since I live in the middle of nowhere, we hadn't had trick or treaters in close to like 10 years. And as my dad got older, he would be upset about it because him and my mom loved trick or treaters. And we used to live in Bergen County, which is a city. And we came from Bergen County to in the middle of nowhere. So last year I went onto Facebook and I told people my address and had it sent around in groups and stuff to and I was like, "Hey, my dad would love to see some trick-or-treaters." We had like 20 to 30 kids stop by, all in costume, and their parents made the stop just to come trick-or-treating at my house. And it was the best thing ever. It was so nice. So we did that last year, and I was thinking of doing it again this year, but since Corona, we're not going to. But yeah, I do nothing for Halloween other than.
Oh, we have a question for Fatma.
What's your favorite iftar dish in Eid dish?
So iftar, for those of you who don't know, is so when you break your fast in Ramadan, which is the month where we fast from sunrise to sunset, and Eid is our version of Christmas. We have 2 Eids a year, like you have Easter and Christmas. So for iftar, my favorite dish would be, in all honesty, I don't have favorite dishes because I love a lot of them.
It's all so good. That's the problem.
They are. I'd say the thing that really, really, for the first few days especially, that gets you into the mood, that's like super specific to Ramadan, is this Libyan red soup that my mum makes, and I don't know, I can't make it. At least I can't make it
It's just
her
one of
level.
the things that she makes the best.
Yes.
Yeah, she makes Libyan food. She's the top chef there. I can't in any way compare. And for Eid, we do eat this a lot. Well, not a lot. At other times during the year as well. But it's a Libyan dessert thing called asida, which is extremely like traditional, and it's like a dough that you cook, but you don't cook it thoroughly to where it becomes a bread. It's cooked, and then you dip it in date syrup or honey or sugar, and then you eat it, and it's like a
I
really
think I know
melted
what you're
dough.
talking about. I think I've had that.
Yeah, so it's like a little Eid thing that we do. I'll just bring up the photo for it, and you dip it with your fingers, but I usually use a spoon. So that's for Eid that I really, really like. And my mum also makes this like really amazing, it's like a potatoes and lamb cooked in red meat, in red tomato sauce that's cooked for a few hours, and it's so delicious. And you just dip it with bread, and that's my mum's forte. I do not go
I'm
anywhere near
coming
that.
over. I'm coming. I will fast if that means I get to eat that. I will fast. I'll do
So
it.
this is what God. So this is what asida is like. And then in the east, which is where I'm originally from, it's drenched in butter, and then we've got the date syrup there, and the honey and the sugar that you dip it in. So that's a super traditional Libyan food.
I want to try it.
In the past, when I was in high school, I was besties with a girl who was from Egypt. Her whole family was from Egypt, and they were Muslim. So I would occasionally get invited to celebrate the holidays with them. And once her grandmother got wind that I loved her balaclava, she would make it special for me, and it was like I would probably gain 20 pounds that day alone. But I regretted nothing because it was the best tasting. That, and I said it before, kofta. She found out that kofta was my favorite meat out of everything she'd made, and I was dead. I couldn't get out, and sometimes we would go to visit her house, and she would ask me to come along, and she would make this in the middle of a normal day, and I would just be like, "You spend all this time making this for me," and then I'm dead. Food coma. It's like, oh, we wanted to go out tonight, but no, I ate too much.
I like how Steve.
Yes, all of this you can find on food. Food of Fatma is going to get co-opted into Food of League of Mayhem. Like, I already know. I just want you to know, as soon as we get off this stream tonight, I will be tweeting out a fall witchy recipe for you to make shit with.
Let's talk about the Green Lantern stuff that came out. God,
Green Lantern stuff came out. We have 2 minutes.
Wait, Green Lantern stuff came out?
For the show.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm not trying to plug my food in. I want to talk about superheroes.
It's like, I'm not trying to plug my channel. Let's talk about Green Lantern.
Yes,
well,
honestly, the news, I'm super, I'm feeling two emotions at the same time. Extremely excited and happy for Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz, Cruz. And I love them so much, and I got the entire run that Sam Humphries, and then I don't know who continued after him, comics from the DC Rebirth, and they have such great and amazing chemistry with each other. I'm gonna carry on because I do not want to talk about and then Simon Baz, I love specifically because he's an Arab and he's a Muslim, and his backstory is specifically interesting. But I'm also extremely apprehensive because it's our dear friend Guggenheim from the CW rec that we have,
Well,
So,
I'm saying that, I'm not actually.
It could have been Jeff Jones.
Yeah, first of all, Jeff Jones is gone, which is an amazing win. Second of all, if they were in a rush to grab someone. This is like literally what it looks like. The Jeff Jones stuff blew up and they were like, fuck, if we're going to get this Green Lantern show out within like the next 2 years, we need someone else who we know has a success rate. And Mark Guggenheim, love him or hate him, he has a success rate throughout the CW, and Arrow season 1 is a work of art. It is art, and like
season 1 of Arrow was good. I feel like honestly, like the problem that I have over there with CW is that they went with the shows, and it started to be more quantity over quality. Like I feel like that was the main issue that happened there. It's just everything started.
Amanda has to go, so you can go, Amanda. Say goodbye to all.
As soon as I sent that, I was like, damn it, I should have just dipped out an Irish goodbye of this shit. I'm going to next time.
No, thank you for saying goodbye.
Good to see you guys. Have a good one. See you soon.
See you soon.
And back to what you were saying, love.
No, it was just like, to me, always that was the feeling, and I've told Cole this before, it's not that there was no potential, and I also like don't necessarily think that people who are behind Green Lantern show don't have a potential. I feel like at CW it became more about, we have to get out all these shows because right now it's in, more than it was about storytelling and the budget and stuff like that. Because when Arrow was the only show on there, it was good.
Art. It was literally, it was the reason why, honestly, when Arrow first started, it was literally what brought DC back. So, and that's kind of the thing with Guggenheim, is at least his first seasons are perfect. Every time he's done, the only thing that was wrong with season 1 of Supergirl was the effects were terrible, and he didn't have a big hand in it because it was on CBS. But like when he got his hands on a show and it's a season 1 and he was working on it, it was great. It's continuing that's his problem. So I think if they just grabbed him to jump off the GL series, which I have a feeling might be the case because they're not slowing down with CW, they might want to keep him more CW because he's got all his fingers in those projects. I think they just grabbed him, honestly, to have a name on the project. I don't think he's going to be doing much because the Jeff Johns stuff lit a fire under them. And they're like, if we put this out, we're fucked. I don't know if you girls
know, but Ray Fisher tweeted out today regarding the Jeff Jones situation. Have you seen it?
No, I didn't personally.
He said something along the lines of,
because that's actually like it's really, I think like it's part of the topic.
I was impressed with the fact that Stargirl, which was on DC Universe until they closed it, was so almost didn't make it because the Jeff Johns stuff started coming out with the last like 3 or 4 episodes, and people stopped, like the views plummeted. So, but they came back up because Stargirl is really good. What's complicated the situation with Tweed and Trons is that appropriate action wasn't taken in real time. As a result, they are allowed to spread to the sister company. It's tricky, but we will untie it. Oh, okay. That's probably that makes sense.
So I think this is just part of it. Like Jeff Jones was everywhere. It's still everywhere.
That's the thing. That's why I think because Jeff Johns was announced initially with the HBO Max programming that he was going to be doing Green Lantern, and then they had to suddenly find someone else, or and they know that DC is their big money maker. They know a lot of us signed up for it because of DC, and they know we're excited for GL. So I honestly think that they literally panicked and grabbed the next experienced person because, what are they going to do? They're going to suddenly shoot out an ad like, hey, apply here if you're an experienced showrunner. No, they're going to look in-house and grab someone and be like, okay, you just closed out Arrow last year, so you can take on one more project. you know? So I honestly think this was them panic planning, and I just don't feel like he's going to have a big pull. I mean, John Diggle from Arrow is going to be in Green Lantern. But other than that, I don't think they're going to have a lot of pull.
Wait, is he going to be in Green Lantern as John Diggle, or is he going to be in Green Lantern as like an actor?
He's going to be John Diggle. So at the last episode of Arrow, you know, they closed the story and they kind of took a moment where Oliver is doing his trademark storytelling of explaining what happened to the rest of the team, like narrating, and John is living in a middle of nowhere. Sorry guys, if this is spoilers for you, leave now. Anyway, he's living, him and his wife and his kids decide to go off and take some time to be just them, and there's a meteor crash and they're living in the middle of nowhere, and he goes out there and it's glowing green, and he reaches out to like touch it, which I don't know why, because he's John Diggle touching a space rock. He knows better. But anyway, he reaches out and the green ring flies out and slips onto his finger, and he goes like this. And that's where it stops for him. But
I need to watch the finale of Arrow then, because I
I literally, when I tell you I screamed, I literally screamed. I was like, finally, I've been begging for this for since day one. My boy.
You know, Diggle of all people, like the guy who was always like taking it the worst, like whenever it came to aliens. This is gonna be funny.
Yeah. When he met, like, I love with Diggle, whenever he ends up in a situation where he's with a metahuman he's not used to, he pukes. Yeah. So it'll definitely be funny. For a while, people were really hoping he was Jon Stewart under a different name, but I sincerely doubt that, because they've spent so much time with Arrow building his own mythology and his own story, and I love him. He's like, some people have a lot against these TV show characters that are built for the show, and it's like, why? You can take your purist comic book shit out the window, you know? It's like you can come up with a character in a book or on TV, and just because it might merge the universes, whatever. It's all cape shit, and you know what? I'm here for it. DC.
What are your thoughts, Chelsea?
About Arrow?
Well, like about the Green Lantern show, more or less.
I've never really been like a huge Green Lantern fan, but I'll tune into it. I really liked Arrow up until like season 4, and then I stopped watching it.
Yeah, I kind of stayed with it because I was committed, but at the same time, there were some, like, I might have not liked the plot, but some of the individual characters I just really loved. And I also loved how Arrow pushed the rest of the CW shows to be more diverse.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's something that I'm really grateful to Arrow for, because they've literally, like, from LGBTQ to POC to religion to everything, they've like pushed the envelope, and I really love that. I feel like Green Lantern is going to be really interesting just because of what they can do with it, like, and how diverse they can probably make it. I mean, like,
what you have in there, Fatma?
What you got?
This is how much I don't back and board my comics, but Simon, Baz, and Jessica Cruz, I love them so much.
Simone and Jessica Cruz.
Oh,
that's so cute. Oh, I love Green Lantern as well. I love the part. At one point,
when I saw the outrage on timeline about the whole announcement, I was furious. I was like, let me be excited for my babies. I am so happy to see them get something.
That's how I felt with watching the series final of Arrow. There was so many emotions, but I could literally talk to no one about it, because literally everyone was just shitting on Arrow and on the CW. And it's like, guys, it's television. They're not going to have the most amazing like budget and shit for this stuff. But anyway, I can rant about that forever. But anyway, it was like I understand what you're feeling, but you can always text us and be like Green Lantern, because we're both excited. I think I'm very excited for Green Lantern.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what it is. I'm personally, I'm not that invested in Green Lantern as like in comics. I have like I am a Red Hood kind of comic gal, but yeah, I am really curious how the show's gonna be. And it's also like you're gonna have a lot of CGI on that one, I think, and
it's HBO. It's HBO Max.
They're gonna have a bigger budget for it, so I think it's gonna look really, really good. I mean, I hope it's.
Yeah, I mean, like with Game of Thrones, we saw what HBO is willing to throw at a television show, and now that it's on their private streaming service, they're gonna have a big budget for it. It's gonna be awesome.
There is also this one really cool show coming to HBO Max next year. By the way, I don't know if you've heard about it. It's called Zack Snyder's Justice League.
For a second, I was like, wait, does she have actual news? And oh, never mind.
What do you mean, does she have actual news? This is actual news. It's still actual news. Every day.
We've been new. Swamp Thing.
Yeah, and Swamp Thing. I've seen Swamp Thing being mentioned quite a few times. I really hope HBO Max considers picking up Swamp Thing, because I love Abby Arcane. I love her so much. I love her character so much.
I had watched like the first 2 episodes of Swamp Thing and I really liked it, but then it was late in the time, so I just found out that they canceled it and I was so sad about it. I didn't keep watching. So I
did. I finished it off
like the whole thing, but then I was like, well, if they canceled it, I'm just gonna get frustrated with it, and I didn't watch it. But if they pick it up, I'm definitely gonna watch it.
No, I did, purely because I fell in love with her. And then I was like, I know that they've cancelled this. I know what's coming, but I want to keep going, and I want to keep watching her and her character and how her character, actually.
Do you girls like Titans?
I like Titans. I just haven't finished.
I was so pissed off at the season finale of the second season of Titans, but now I found out that I'm gonna get Red Hood, and I'm just like, okay, I can't hate you.
I know what happens in the finale of Titans in season 2, but in all honesty, like I just watch it, and there's enjoyment in there, but I haven't finished season 2, and I started it like months ago.
What about you, Chelsea?
I haven't watched Titans yet at all. I just haven't had time.
If you have time, if you find time to like watch a show, like one episode every now and again, Titans is definitely worth it. So I was lucky for when Titans first came out, DC Universe was doing a thing where you can enter a lottery and you get chosen to go to the premiere in New York. So my brother and I won. We went into New York to see it, and it was amazing setup they had and everything. And we watched the first 2 episodes. And maybe it was the experience of watching it with a crowd or watching it and then you had to wait, by the way, 2.5 months, which killed me for the next episode. But I was hooked. The second I saw Dick Grayson is a hard ass and he's like traumatized and has to work through it. And he said, fuck Batman. I was like, yes, my baby, give it to me. Cause it gets so boring when a character sticks to the whole like Boy Scout sort of persona the whole time. It's like I like characters with depth and with emotions and like with evolution, not just like I'm perfect. And then once they introduced Jason Todd in the second season, and the first thing we see is him riding his motorcycle through Wayne Manor. I was like, yep, there's Jason. He's here. I'm still here. I'm here for it.
I feel like the first season was better than the second one as far as like
it was
and
it totally was. I think because now it's on HBO Max, the writing's going to change a bit. I hope not too dramatically that we won't recognize it, but I think it might be better. But like the one, like with the, we shouldn't say it out loud, but with the season.
No, let's not go to that because I don't know if people watched it.
With the season final of Titans, I was annoyed, but at the same time, I was like, "You think we're fucking dumb, don't you?"
Yeah, no, like that.
I was like, most of us have been watching or like reading comic books for so long. We know the rule: no corpse, no death.
Yeah.
I didn't see no body.
Well, it's 2:14 on our live stream, so I think maybe it's time that we could wrap it up, like in like the epic conclusion to the story. So we will have this month. We will have 2 more streams. Then one will be in 2 weeks as usual, and then there will be our Halloween stream. Which will come with costumes and a spooky stories. And if you guys have suggestions, just throw them at us. I mean, why not? It'll be fun.
And any more like details, we'll let you know in like the next week or so.
Yes, of course. We will. Everything will be posted. Do you girls want to plug in your handles? Papa's like, no, I've done it enough today.
Food with Fatma. Just saying. What about you, Chelsea? You've got Chelsea has a new Twitter @ plug it.
I have a new one, but I'm gonna change it at the end of the month. I just kept this for Halloween.
Oh, well, plug it anyway.
This one so that they can find you if they want to find you now, and then we can turn it back.
It's just Clown Girl. I was like playing around with like different ads. And it's all in like uppercase, and I think that
I noticed it today that you had a different one, and I was like, "Hang on, what happened here?" I was first like, "Am I talking to the right person?"
Okay, so I think that's all. So that's lights out, bitch. We're out.
Yeah, bye.